Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the best DLC build guide for an Elden Ring. So this will help you a lot with the Shadow of the Erdtree. What's nice about this build is you can use it for every single boss and it's extremely versatile. So I'll be showing you it at level 150, however if you're a higher level I'll talk about what stats to put it into. So the two weapons that we want to be using is the Blood and Spur Rapier, which we're going to be able to build up both Blood Loss and Scarlet Rot with this weapon, which is extremely useful because Scarlet Rot can make some bosses a whole lot easier. Also using the Heavy Cross Naginata alongside the Fingerprint Stone Shield. This will be able to resist a lot of damage. This helps you learn the boss's attack patterns really well. And this will scale off of strength if we put it as a Heavy Cross Naginata. Now, I'm going to be using either Bloodflame Blade, Frost Grease, or Rot Grease to increase the damage of that, so it will deal blood loss. You can also use the Divine Beast Dancing Lion's weapon art that you can get, which gives you Frost Stomp, and you can put a Frost Imbuement on it so you can build up both Frostbite and Bleed at the same time. I'm also using Bloodhound Step for mobility, which I'll show you in a moment, but at level 150, we got 50 Vigor. You can go higher with that, and I would recommend it for this DLC. Upwards of 60 is even better. 24 Mind, I find that's just enough to be able to use Bloodhound Step, and I'm using Impaling Thrust there, but we also got a few different spells that we can use. I have 45 Endurance to give us a medium load with 55 Poise. Ideally, you can get up to 56 Poise. I also have 48 Strength, which is the minimum requirements to hold the Fingerprint Stone Shield, and that'll allow us to scale this on heavy and get more damage. 22 Dexterity also allows us to wield the Naginata, or not the Naginata, but the Naga Kiba, so if you want to use a katana alongside this, you can. I find this works really great with the shield, however. And then 15 Faith and 15 Arcane allows us to cast a few very useful spells, which I'll touch on. Now, take whatever armor you can get your poise up to 56 ideally. For the purpose of this, I'm using just this armor here because it looks cool, but having high poise allows you to resist being hit. Lord of Blood's Exaltation and the White Mask will increase the damage that you deal whenever you deal bleed. The Greatjar Arsenal allows us to medium roll. The Two-Headed Turtle Talisman increases our stamina recovery when we're blocking, and then the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman increases our physical damage. However, you can change that out to, if you're fighting a boss that deals fire damage, put on the fire one. If you're fighting one that deals electricity, put on the electricity. So, what we're using for our spells is Flame Gravity Strength, which is extremely powerful because it's going to increase our damage dealt. But also, if we have Bloodflame Blade, it'll increase the damage of this. So I highly recommend using both of those. And then we also have Rot Breath there if we want another way to imply Scarlet Rot. But the typical way we'd go about fighting is you got your shield here to block attacks. And as you can see, they don't hurt you. These people are not hitting me very hard, but you can see the endurance go down a little bit. On some of the endgame bosses, it's not going to reduce your stamina that much, but you got a crazy amount of damage with this. So as you can see there, we're hitting once for 765 damage, which is pretty close to the Rivers of Blood. And we also have the Blood Loss buildup from this weapon, plus the Blood Loss buildup from the Bloodflame. So the actual amount of damage that we can deal is incredible. The strategy that you want to be using is you want to block and attack until your endurance goes down to about 50%. So once your endurance drops that low, you're going to want to try and recover your endurance by either blocking or reducing your block or by running away. And once your endurance is really low, you can dodge roll. Now, I also have the Bloodhound Step for mobility here, so this is a really good option if you need to dash around a little bit. As you can see, it's got a lot of invincibility frames. But typically our strategy would be to just be using our shield as much as possible. With the shield, even without any Bloodflame on here, we have a ton of damage. And this isn't even counting for the bleed damage that we'd be building up. So with the Lord of Blood's Exaltation plus the White Mask, we will deal increased amount of damage whenever we trigger blood loss in the vicinity, which is going to be often since both of our weapons will scale off of that. I also have the Spur Rapier there, but the distance that it hits is actually a lot shorter than the Naginata. So that's why I put the Impaling Thrust on it, so that we have a bit of mobility, and it deals a bit of extra damage too, so that's the nice thing about that. But it triggers bleed really quickly too, because it has 84 blood loss buildup, which is a lot, and it also has the Scarlet Rot buildup. So with your Mimic using both of these, you can deal the Frostbite damage, the bleed damage, and the Scarlet Rot damage. On top of all that, we also have greases, which are extremely useful to use here. So we have Rot Grease or Freezing Grease. I recommend using them because the damage, or the extra damage that you'll be dealing with these is extremely useful. So you can freeze people with them. Oh, I got hit by a pot there. The frostbite will proc at roughly the same time that you get your bleed procs off at, so if you're fighting certain bosses, you can hit both of them at the same time, and it completely shreds down bosses. So frostbite with this weapon is awesome. Even rot is awesome with this weapon, so this build can help you with pretty much any boss in the game, because you can modify it how it needs to be modified. So if you're fighting like the Shadow Tree avatar, change it from frost to fire. It's weak to fire, so throw that fire on there and you'll be dealing a ton of damage. What's nice too is we also have the ability, if you wanted to put on the Nagakiba, which is a katana that deals a ton of damage. So the blood Nagakiba is pretty good, but you can go with other options there. But with attacking with a shield, it's a little bit different because you don't actually get the shield attack with it. So I would recommend sticking to like the rapier, which you can do a shield poke, and the cross Naginata, which also has a shield poke plus bleed, and then also the frostbite. So this build can work all the way through, and it worked. This is actually the best build for the final boss, which is extremely challenging if you don't use this build. So yeah, that is it for the best build in Elden Ring Shadow the Erdtree. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them in the if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'll get to them right away. I usually respond to comments really quickly. If this video was helpful to you, please hit that subscribe button below, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and have yourself a great day.